Hello, hello. Hope everybody's wait till a little bit gets on, I guess. See what's starting out. We're still, everybody, I guess, is still snowed in, I think. Uh, I've got my phone now that I can see, maybe see the chat. So I'm not in the most uh, good mood. I'm not in a bad mood. I'm kind of in uh, just a, I don't know, a mood. I'm moody just like anybody. And it comes and it goes sometimes. We all get in these moods, and I'm gonna tell you when it's snow weather or when you're displaced or when you're in snow weather, it's kind of hard to uh, feel very cheerful. I did several things today, though. Got a few things done, and I feel like that I made some progress. You know, because you can't get outside. I guess you could if you was younger, get outside, but I don't need to get out there and break my hip. You know, that's the main thing is getting out there to break my hip. Then what would poor mama do? She'd have to. There's no way at 93 years old she could go and do all my cooking and bathing and waiting on me. There's just no way in the world she could wait on me. So I don't have just myself that I have to worry about. I have my mama that I have to worry about because if I fell and broke my leg or my hip or my arm, even an arm, even breaking my arm would be detrimental because I wouldn't be able to help do the clothes. I wouldn't be able to do her clothes. I wouldn't be able to cook for her. I wouldn't be able to take care of her. Like she's used to. So I just decided I would go out and try to get the ice off of the car and get it out of the rut because it was. I bet there's 10 inches or something. So then you had to get the car pulled out, and I couldn't get it. I didn't try, but I knew I had to dig out the wheels. So I got a long handle shovel, one of the old garden shovels, and I just kind of made a trench at the back and kind of made a trench at the front of the car. And then of course, it come right out. And today it got probably in the late 30s, maybe. So I had uh, I had some help on my side from the good Lord, letting it warm up just a little bit. I hope y'all are doing okay. I hope everybody has stayed safe. It there's always tragedy, but there was something that happened in the old town I lived in, Bonham, Texas. There's three boys, little boys, all little bitty boys. One was playing on the ice, I guess, the stock tank or the pool, not a swimming pool. I think it's probably out in the country. I don't know. I don't know the details. But the first little boy fell in. It breaks my heart. First little boy fell in, and the other two tried to save him, and they fell in. And then the mother went and tried to save her three children, and they died. They drowned. The mother was saved by the Bonham High School band director, I believe. May have been next door neighbor, heard her hollering and threw her a rope, is from what I've heard. Um, So, it's that family, we need to pray that they get through this. And just, if y'all have kids, keep them away from stuff like that. Don't take your eye off your child for 1 minute, because it don't take but a split second. And they're quicker than we are. And those kids didn't have no idea that frozen over pond, could engulf them and drown them. So it's kind of got me all upset last day or so. And I think they were probably, I don't know, 7 years old, maybe 6, 5, 7. And that just broke my heart, along with everything else that's going on in this crazy world. I never thought I'd see a lot of it happen. Okay, Gumbo Girl, hi Billie Jean, Sandra Terry, good evening, sending warm wishes, hugs and prayers from South Carolina. Well, warm wishes to y'all, glad you could come, glad you could show up. I put a hat on, and I even put clothes on, and I put my teeth in. So y'all are really getting a spectacle tonight. You're really getting the showstopper treatment. So let me think of what else is going on. It's just cold. It is very, very cold. This morning I made what did I do? Oh, I made gravy biscuits and eggs. Didn't film it. Y'all seen enough of that. Then for lunch we had the potato, carrot, chicken soup. Mother loved that soup. She was just adamant to eat that, and she ate really big bowls of it, and I was so happy because Sheila says, is this live or a restream? No, Sheila, it's alive. I'm live. I'm live tonight. It's because you never tune in. You're always, I get a text from you or something. That's Sheila. She's my follower from Arkansas, and I'll get a text from her. Well, I missed your live. I was watching this, doing that. And she's the one that we prayed for her little grandbaby boy to get well, if y'all remember. And he did get well. So see, there is a lot in prayer. We have to say there is everything in prayer. And Sheila says, well, hello then. Well, hello, Sheila. I'm glad you could come and visit with us. I guess it's every one of you are snowed, has snow somewhere there. Or I guess I haven't looked at the United States map or the world map or nothing to know where snow is or snow isn't. Because I've been trying to do my own, trying to keep Mother and I, the home fires burning, as they say. So I'm sitting over here in the other part of my den. I was going to sit where I always do, but as you know, we have 4 cats, and the 4 cats are not guests here. They run this household. Now, if none of you are like that, then you wouldn't understand. But the ones that have fur babies, you'll understand. So both of my chairs that I usually use have cats, 1 cat in each. And they're asleep. Didn't want to bother them, Lord, no. I get them woke up, stirred up, and then it'd be a little much, I'll tell you. It would get the meow, 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 meow. And there's one outside. I let Snowflakey out, the black and white one, because he would have drove me batty tonight. He's been all day long, in and out, in and out. And then his sister, the white sick kitty that got in the poison a few years ago, in and out, in and out. I told Mother, I said, my finger is sore from having to click the lock on the sliding glass door to let those cats in and out. I said, we're going to put a Band-Aid on it because they have, and I said, then they drove me crazy. So there's David. Hi, David. Glad you're on. Eric, good to see you. Yeah, it's been one hell of a ride. You know, in my life, I remember I was telling somebody at the grocery. No, I was one of the boys down the road came today when he saw me trying to get the ice off the windshield, and he come and helped me just a little bit. And I said, y'all, they've got baby children, two little girls. And I said, y'all doing okay? Oh yeah, we're doing fine. And I said, well, good. And I said, I remember the Red River down on the ranch freezing up one year. I was probably about 12 years old. And I think if I remember correctly, it froze all the way across. But Daddy had to get on the horse, and I got on the horse with him, and we rode down there and got a big old, I guess we took a sledgehammer, and he had to bust that river, the slough part up because the cows were dying of thirst, and we didn't realize it till a day or so. I mean, it was like days. We had to stay. We couldn't go anywhere. The power, I think, went down, and my dad, like I've told on other videos, he always had us a fireplace, and so I think we survived by that fireplace because that ranch, I think it's 500 acres, and we were right out in the middle of that land. And either way, you couldn't get in or get out. The cattle guards were froze up. Everything was froze up. Sheila says, I'll tell y'all a little more of this. Let me read a couple. We have 3 indoor cats. One has to be isolated from the others because she is such a scaredy cat. It's a 2-ring circus around here sometime. You look snazzy. I look snazzy. Well, that's a good Southern word, snazzy. That means kind of, upper echelon. Well, I don't feel it. I just threw on my this shirt, and I had this vest. I love this vest. It's a crochet vest, and I got it at Tuesday mornings years. I'm talking about years ago, when before Tuesday Morning syndicated and went everywhere or branched out. It was in Dallas, in a little old shop, and they would get all of Neiman Marcus and Bloomingdale's and all those overruns of stuff. And this thing here might have been $500, and I probably got it for $5. But I love it because it just keeps you warm. It keeps you warm, even in a short sleeve. You'd think but in the house, I get too hot. I just get too hot, and then I can pull this off. But I've been wearing my night shirts. That red one I had on night before last was a night shirt. I love my night shirts, and I get them. I've got quite a few. They're like cotton. I don't get the wool ones. That itched me to death. I couldn't take that. Susan from the mountains, sharing a quick recipe for you, Billie Jean. 1 cup of Greek yogurt, 1/2 cup of peanut butter, 1/4 cup of honey, 1/3 cup of mini chocolate chips. Stir together, make balls, lay on tray, freeze, and eat. So yogurt, peanut butter, honey. I'm trying to think about this recipe, Susan. there's some, I think I don't have this exact recipe uh, exactly. Uh, but I do know of the concoction, kind of, you know. Uh, and then, as a kid, we didn't have all, we'd go to the ice cream parlor there in Bonham, we'd go to the ice cream store, ice cream parlor. But we didn't have all this ice cream that had birthday cake in it and chocolate chips in it and all that. Now, I don't even remember having that as a child. I remember getting a dish of vanilla, a dish of strawberry, a dish of chocolate, some that pink or that green lime sherbet. I couldn't wait for somebody to get married because my grandmother, and I've still got the big punch bowls and stuff in yonder. She would always use those punch bowls and mix up that lime sherbet or orange sherbet, whichever, and ginger ale. I couldn't wait for them to get through with that baby shower or that wedding shower because there'd be a bunch of that left over and she would put it back in milk jugs and then we'd drink it out of the refrigerator, you know. But that was just the go-to Southern punch, I guess, for everybody. They made a cranberry one too that was always so good. And it seemed like those cakes back then were to die for. Um, or my grandmother's was. She could bake. Oh Lord, she could bake. Uh, and wouldn't use any kind of mixed box. Uh, then later on, I remember her using Duncan Hines, something like that. Sheila says I meant three ring circus, not two. Well, you can have a 2 ring, 1 ring, 3 ring. Yeah, Sheila, that's it. Sherbet punch, mints and nuts. I've still got the real solid silver nut and mint bowl dishes with the little spoons. I've still got those. It's funny how we remember things and how our world has changed. That's the kicker is I was thinking about the news. Mother loves the news. It makes her upset. She doesn't understand things. I wish she's been watching Price is Right, like I told you. Sometimes I wish that I could just say, no more news, Mama. But she's Mama, so you can't do that. I'm not going to do it. I think about, memories is what I live on. Maybe you do too. I have good memories of my grandmother. I have good memories of my childhood. Uh, my daddy, we weren't rich, but my daddy made sure we had good clothes uh, and food to eat, and we were happy. Now, Daddy griped a lot, but that was just Daddy. Everybody, even neighbors, knew my daddy was just kind of an old butt sometimes. But I loved him, and I can say that I loved him. He and I had some terrible, well, not really terrible, but he just wanted to run my career, run me going to Europe, or run me going to college or whatever, because he was paying for it. Of course, I listened a lot of the times, but then we kind of had it out. And I didn't speak to Daddy for about 5 years. Of course, Mother and I, we've always, you know, been together, been around each other. I haven't always lived with her, no, and she hadn't always lived with me. But my dad, he was a very, very intelligent man. There was nothing that I can remember that my daddy couldn't fix or design. He was a builder architect. He was a rancher. He was he could fix stuff, and if there was no way to fix it, he'd figure out how to go around that and invent something that would. So I guess he's an inventor too. And so the 5 years, it was nearly to the day. And my sister called me and said, Daddy just found out he's got cancer. And, all those years of thinking, oh, I don't care about him, or I don't care what happens to him. That comes, that there was a stop to that. That day, all those bad thoughts I had, unpleasant thoughts, I felt sad. I was really, really sad. And I was living out of the state. And so I came down to the ranch, where the other ranch, this was a small place. I guess you call it a farm. And I visited. And I may have told this once before, but I went in and, how you doing, son? Oh, I'm making it. I'm doing okay. How are you doing, Daddy? Oh, I'm all right. He had bought a general store that had a bunch of antiques. Some of this stuff is why I've got what I have here. This Victrola over here, he saved from some of my mother's family. He had it down there in that old store, so that's another story. But he said, I can't go to work anymore down at the store. I said, why, Daddy? I knew, of course. I've got that old cancer. I said, what kind? Oh, they don't know. They just know that it's gonna not get any better. And I said, well, Dad, what are you gonna do? Because of course he hadn't remarried after my mother. And my mother had married a physician and didn't live in the state. I don't know, son. I don't know what I'll do. I said, what do the doctors want you to do? Well, they want me to take chemo treatment, shots. So finally, we visited, and I was devastated, just being there. It was like I was a little boy again, like 5 years old. And I knew that I had to make up with him. So I told him, I said, Daddy, do you need me to come? I'll give up everything. Do you need me to come and stay with you so you don't have to be by yourself? I said, because it's 20 miles to town. And this is the Southern country way of saying yes. No, son, I don't want you to give up your life unless you want to. And right there, I knew my daddy needed. So I gave up everything and I moved down to the little country house. For probably 6 months. a lot of the stuff from the store was, he had people bring it and put it in a barn, one of the barns. And so he told me to get whatever I wanted, kind of, because he had a wheel and all that stuff. So one thing was I wanted the old Victrola and several other things. My daddy loved refinishing furniture. He could refinish something that was so gray and deteriorated that had set out like a washstand or something he could restore it till it looked like it was just bought yesterday. And he was a genius. So I stayed down there with my daddy. It's going to be hard to tell this, but I stayed down there. And I got maybe, after it got pretty bad, y'all, with the cancer, he got really ballooned up, from the fluid. I had never been around anybody that was sick with cancer. I didn't know the day-to-day happenings, but I'd get in his pickup and I'd drive him to Sherman, Texas, to the cancer doctor, Dr. Barker. Then we go back, back and forth. And it would make him sick. And he never complained. That is just daddy. He didn't complain about nothing. Ever. So finally we had to move. He got on hospice, of course. And we had to move a hospital bed into his bedroom to make it easier for me, because I had no help. Now my middle sibling, sister, would come and see me during the daytime. The other sibling, sister, very rarely. I cooked, I washed, I cleaned, I took care of him, I bathed him, I gave him his medicine. Plus, I did whatever for that on that farm. I had 3 nephews that lived down the road. No help. Could come by and joke and make fun of the way my dad was looking or acting. I remember the day he died. I had a nephew that made fun of him out on the front porch of how Granddaddy looked when he passed away. So he passed away, and got through that. But the thing was, is you have those memories. You look back and you think, could I have done something different? I think we all do that in our life, over a child or a parent or even a situation. If I had done that different, what would the outcome have been? But I think God led me to do with my daddy to prepare me. Because, I'm a mama's boy. To prepare me to take care of my mother. Because I was not a caregiver. Yeah, I'd worked in the funeral homes, but that was makeup artist. That's what part of my career, years before. I was not one to be a caregiver. So God prepares us for things that will come later on, I believe. And I think that's what happened to me. He gave me the time of my daddy to prepare me to eventually let's see, how many years, 15 years later, to become my mama's caregiver. So, you know, we can't regret anything that we've done. We just have to go on and think we've done the best that we could. And y'all know that's my saying. I need a t-shirt. I'm doing the best that I can. And that's the way you have to be in life. You're doing the best that you can in the situation. There's nothing else you can do. Now, if there are things that you need to work out, you need to get that done. You do need to get that done so you will feel a lot better about life. If you're lonesome or you need friends or what, it'll come. It'll come. Just pray about it. You know, that's enough tonight for that. Let me read some comments. The older I get, Sheila says, the more I like reminiscing. That's the way it goes, I guess. Yes, reminiscing is more and more what I do as a senior citizen now. God bless you all. Thank you, Susan from the mountains. Eric, I do genealogy. It helps to keep the memories of the past. I believe it, Eric. I really believe it. Sheila says, my daddy was an electrician. He could fix or create anything too. I think that's just a Southern way. You know, a lot. I've seen that all my life. She said, I wish I had communicated more with him when he was alive. Someday we will catch up. That's exactly what I told y'all on Sunday night. You know, you've got to try to communicate. If for some reason you're downsided with your mom or sibling, or I'm talking about the close family, you need to try to learn from them or talk to them, not really learn, I guess, like from our parents. You know, you shut them out and, hello, how are you? I'm fine, goodbye. You know, but there's things that we need to work out before they're gone, because once they're gone, it's so hard. It's even hard for me. And I went and did what I did, y'all. But it's still hard for me to think of the years that I could have spent with him that I was too high and mighty and acting mad. So that's why I tell everybody, you know, make amends. Too short a life, that kind of thing. Gary Brunt, hi, Betty Jane, haven't been on your channel for a while. I had some personals to deal with. Nice to see you. You too, Gary. I'm glad to see all of you. Thank y'all for subscribing. Make sure you're subscribed. Give me those hypes. Give me those thumbs up. See, I've learned how to kind of say the lingo now. I do need it. I need my channel to grow so I can reach more people and try to give them fellowship. You know, this world's getting worse, but we need to stick together. That's the way I feel about it. Let me get a little drink. My little Tang. Y'all like Tang? If you was here, you could have a glass of Tang with me. And I'm using this plastic glass out of all those glasses I've got. Can you believe it? That's some of my crystal up above. I've got so much crystal. I've got so much everything. It's not just crystal. I've got it all. This is interesting. Oh, hold on just a minute. I'm going to show y'all something. My grandfather was also quite interesting. Let me get this off the wall. This is Walter Cronkite here on the wall. And Gloria Allred. But probably got dust on it. I try to dust, but I don't have time. I really don't. This here, I'm going to show you all this, and then I'm going to read it to you. Now, this is my daddy's daddy, my granddaddy. Now, I want you to look at this if you can. I don't know how to get it like that. Okay, you see that old piece of parchment paper, then his cigarette lighter, and those teeth. This was all put together. Let me read what Granddaddy wrote, and then I'll tell you the story of how this became. It's hard for me to see, but this old wolf, I have to get over here, y'all. Let me see. This wolf, something I killed her. She was an old mama wolf. She had killed a bunch of my chickens for food. And it's too hard. And I see that July 17th, 1943. Well, so those are the wolf teeth from the old wolf that killed the chickens on the farm. And he had to kill her. That's very interesting, I think. You know, I think we'll hang that back up. If not, I'll break it. We don't need to be breaking. This was an old Goofus glass. Do y'all know what Goofus glass is? I'm going to set this down here in this chair. And I'm going to see if I can play this old Victrola for you, just so before I get off of here. Now, y'all can see I got to crank it up, I think. I think this is probably Roy Acuff on here, because everybody used to like, I've got religion, I got this is full down here, records, and this is your volume control here. I'll show you. Let me get it going. Maybe not. Yeah, there we go. There we go. See? That's the way you control the volume. There are no knobs or buttons or nothing. Can y'all believe that sound not a perfect sound? Can y'all believe that during that time, they didn't have hi-fi, they didn't have CDs, they didn't have TVs, they didn't have, and that's what they listened to. But you know, I bet they were happy. I imagine they were more happy than we are right now if they didn't have that TV. And they just had a Victrola that they had to crank up, and that's they dance to and have a pie supper. They wasn't seeing this breaking news, you know. So I imagine our relatives were a lot happier back in the country, and they didn't know nothing's happening so bad. Because by the time it got to them, it may not ever got to them, the news, you know. Okay, let me read these comments, and then how long have I been on here? I've been on 39, 59. Let me see. D, good evening, y'all. Hey, Billy Jean and Mama. I'm glad we're here together or tonight. It was a hard day. Billy, my father passed when I was a child. I wish every day he was here so I could talk to him. Yeah, D. That's why we got to say things while they're alive and love them. Sheila says, I begged for Tang when I was young because I saw it advertised all the time. Mama finally got some for me and I hated it. Yeah, I remember those Tang commercials. Some of them were quite artistically done. I'll put it that way. Melissa Brown, hello. I've been so impressed by how you care for your mother. Now hearing about your father, you cared for him lovingly. I did. I did in my own way. David, my great grandma had one of those. D, lovely, a flash from the past, old days and lovely times. David said, I imagine you're right. They were happier. I really believe it, David. Okay, y'all. I'm going to come on when I can. Didn't get the chocolate pie made. Sheila texted me after I said I was going to make a chocolate pie, and it upset her whole night because she was thinking about that chocolate pie. Well, Sheila, I didn't get it done, and I still hadn't. Something came up. Oh, the one of the washer got something caught in it, and I was trying to get this dish towel out, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. But and yesterday, if y'all noticed on the video, I dropped a can of spice in that pre-baked pie crust. So now if I do a chocolate pie, it's going to have to be a chocolate pie pudding with crumbled up, because I'm not going to waste that. I'm not going to waste that pie shell, Sweet dreams to y'all too. God bless you. I wish y'all was here to have some Tang. Bye-bye.